running.
Boom! What's up, you guys? Byron Rogers here. I get asked this question all the time: how to select a good CCW firearm, gun, pistol, right? I've made a few videos on my personal selection, the CZP10. CZP10 series is my favorite. If you want to learn why I selected this gun and why I put these features on it, then look up my perfect carry gun, which is another video I made. Go to the tactical review column on my YouTube channel. But anyways, when I'm talking to someone and they're saying, hey Byron, how do I select my first CCW gun? You know, the world's getting crazy. I need to carry. This is essentially what I tell them, you know. First and foremost, you know, you want to take a look at your body size and what you can and can't conceal. You know, there's two factors that I think are important personally, which is the size of the gun and what you can do with that size of weapon, and also how size also plays off of your body, you know, because you really can't afford to be printing with your firearm and have someone see it and call the police for any reason. Otherwise, your CCW carrying days are over. So the CCW game, the concealed carry weapon game, is kind of finding this apex between what you can shoot effectively in terms of size, right? And also what you can conceal effectively. That's kind of one of the ways I look at it. Personally, I find that a Glock 19 size is about as small as I really ever want to go when it comes to a firearm that I'm going to be able to really get into an actual gunfight with. So if I'm working, I will never carry anything smaller really than a Glock 19 size firearm. So Glock 19 is actually technically a compact. I always thought it was a full size, but my CZP10 is slightly bigger than a Glock 19. But I think a Glock 19 is a perfect carry gun, personally. If you want my 2 cents, the CZP10 series, perfect carry gun. It's small enough to conceal, but large enough for you to really wrap your hand around, double stack, and get into a gunfight with, you know. So another consideration is magazine capacity, is ammo, man. Round capacity. Some guys go with the 45 because they don't make a 55, you know what I'm saying?
The 45 long slide with laser sighting.
These are brand new. We just got them in. That's a good gun. Just touch the trigger, the beam comes on, and you put the red dot where you want the bullet to go. You can't miss.
But I've learned through competitive shooting and training, personally, I prefer to have more BBs, man. More freedom seeds, the better. I run a, you know, like a 15, 16 round magazine, 15 round magazine with one in the hole. And then I've got a 20 round backup as well, you know, so I can be like Oprah Winfrey with bullets if I need to. Everybody gets a bullet. Anyway. So round capacity, in my opinion, is huge. You want to make sure you're able to comfortably carry a large, considerable volume of rounds. You don't want to be running around with, you know, a bunch of extra mags, but especially if you're working, if you're in executive protection, magazine capacity or round capacity is a very serious consideration. When I do my tactical protection reviews, which is where I talk about different things civilians and just humans can do to be safer, I talk about context. You may upgrade, you may plus up on an extra spare magazine or plus down on a spare magazine, depending on where you're going. But as for me, my everyday carry, I always have a spare mag because round capacity is something that I'm always trying to consider. Another thing that is big when it comes to selecting your weapon is don't just go in there and choose something you think looks cool. The reality of this is that you probably will go through a few firearms if you're shooting. If you're not a shooter and you just like want to have a gun, then you probably will never do that because you'll never shoot your gun enough to know what you do or don't like about it. Personally,
I'm interested in buying a gun.
Are you a hunter?
No, it would be for self-defense. I need something that can fit into my hand.
How about something like this?
Yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for.
I think that the gun's not even really yours until you've at least put 1,000 rounds through it. And 1,000 rounds, you're really just getting started understanding and knowing that gun. We have a saying in the league, rookies spend money on hardware, professionals spend money on software. So, make sure when you're trying to select this gun, more importantly than any advice anyone gives you, you go to the range and you actually shoot that weapon, rent that weapon, shoot that weapon. If a friend's got one, see if you can shoot it on a day with them at the range and get acquainted with them with that weapon. Now, some kind of more specifics in terms of what I personally prefer and look for in a firearm. I like a 45-degree grip angle, more 45-degree grip angle, because I feel like it's a more natural cant to like throwing a punch, right? It's a very natural way for my arm to be extended and for me to support that firearm. If this is a more 90-degree grip angle, right, I would have to cant my arms a little bit more like this in order to get that. And personally for me, for my ergonomics, I like to have that full extension. And that just feels a lot better. So that's one of the reasons why I went with the CZ. Glock also has a grip angle like that. I think SIGs are a little bit more 90 degrees, but it really depends on what you want and what you want to train to and what you naturally work with. I highly recommend throwing a dot on your firearm because dots are the future, whether you like it or not. You can do more with a dot once you learn how to work them. They're becoming more dependable, and they just increase your capabilities with the firearm. But just to keep it basic, keep it simple, I look for the ergonomics of the handle. I like a 45-degree cant. I look for the bore over axis. Okay, so when you're firing this weapon, see that action that's happening with that slide on top? This is the slide, right? This is the lower frame here, right? That action that's taking place there is going to be happening right above your hand, and the higher up you can have your hand to where that action is taking place, the more stable you'll be able to keep this firearm because the more support you'll be putting in the right places. Bore over axis is a fancy way of saying how high you can get your hand up to that slide in order to support the action that's going to be taking place. It's easier to shoot guns that let you get way up in that tank. This is also called the tank. It's easier to shoot guns that let you get high up in that tank so you can control the cycling of the weapon and you can really support that slide. So that's another big thing that I look for when it comes to looking for a new firearm. Another piece that you want to feel the trigger. I'm by no means a professional, I'm by no means a duty expert on triggers, but what I feel for is I like to feel a nice smooth ride back, right? I like to hit that wall, right? You'll see a nice smooth, take the slack out of the trigger, then you hit that wall, and then I need to be able to just simply pull back, not feel anything in that trigger other than that wall fall, and it should be effortless. Like the tolerances and the pressure should not change as I pull through my trigger. And then the other huge piece as well is when you let that trigger back, you want to have a really positive, crisp reset, so you'll be able to detect that while you shoot. Depending on how you shoot, some people will say you should never do that, never ride at home. Some people will say you better do that so you can be ready to shoot sooner. That's all great, but in terms of looking for a trigger, the way I look for a trigger is I want to feel that same type of pressure, like an apex of pressure, mountaintop, boom, and then I want there to be like no movement when this is all the way back, no more movement. And then when I let go, small movement forward, right? That's a stock trigger. I haven't modified anything inside this weapon. I was gonna polish up some parts, that was about it, but those are kind of the main things that I look for. Boom, bore over axis, grip angle, feel the trigger. I can dig it. Those are some features you look for, but ultimately what's going to make your carry gun effective and efficient and awesome and not is going to be the training you get to go along with that. Like I said, rookies spend money on hardware, professionals spend money on software because it is the training and the software you're running behind that weapon that's really going to determine whether you survive or not. So if you want to find some great places where you can learn the art of personal protection from the comfort of your own home, go to protectornation.com. You can learn from some of the best in the world, best of the best in the world, about the art of protection. And if I was going to tell you where to go to get some great training, because you're a new shooter to the game or you're an experienced shooter and you want to level up, I would suggest go check out Fabio Spinella, My Own Defender. He's got a 6-month workup, and that will take you to the next level, or that will get you familiar and extremely comfortable and extremely effective, because as a new shooter, that's really what it's about: comfort, confidence, and competence when it comes to these things. So just a little bit on that. I have a whole nother video when I talk about why I put all this stuff on here and what exactly I've done. My perfect carry gun, go check that out. This is Byron Rogers, protector by nature and by trade, reminding you to be peaceful but not harmless. Out. Boom!
Mr. Webley, I trust you have a license for that firearm.
I does for this one.
Does for this one.
He does for this one.
What do you mean by this one?
By the power of Grayskull.
What happened to world peace?